Hi everyone, I'm JD, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm just going to show how to do the binding of a journal using the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So I've got 3 journals all ready to go and I'm just going to do one after the other using the same method, and I'm hoping that this will help you know what the 3-hole pamphlet stitch is, how to bind a journal, and give you the confidence to do it yourself, because I know for me it was super intimidating. This was the part of making a journal that stopped me from trying. So as soon as I did it the first time though, I discovered that it was really easy and there was nothing to be afraid of. So materials are just scissors, an awl, a needle and embroidery thread or some type of wider, thicker thread like wax linen thread, and the needle needs to be something quite large with a large eye. Not sure if that's going to focus at all, but to fit through the embroidery thread, and not too large though that you'll poke a huge hole in the journal. So basically let's start with this journal here. Oh, the other thing is some sort of like bobby pin, paper clip, bulldog clip to hold the pages in place so that they won't move about when you're poking the hole through it and pulling thread through the pages. So I just grab my awl, and all of this I just eyeball. You can measure it if you want, but I just kind of guesstimate where the middle is and then close the journal like this so that I can, when I push the awl through, it will be through the middle of that fold in the spine. So wiggle it through. Sometimes you might have to poke it through further than you think, just because when you poke through your needle and thread, that knot there is just the widest part, and so you might get the whole needle fitting through except for that knot. And if that happens, I just poke the awl through again. And then what I do is, some people do poke the 3 holes in first and then they thread it, but I like to, each time I poke a hole through, put the needle and thread through, just because the hole is going to be absolutely matched up and the pages haven't moved yet, because once I open it up again and do this next hole, the pages kind of wiggle a little bit. Even though they're held with the paper clips, they wiggle a bit and the hole just can get out of alignment a little bit. So then I just kind of go from the bottom side upwards a bit, and again I don't measure perfectly, I just kind of eyeball that I want it about there, and then do the same thing, fold the journal over, closing it and then poking the awl through, and then I grab my needle and poke it through because the hole is perfectly lined up as is, like that. And this is a little trick that I love using. I put that one up the top, pull this one down as far as I can, kind of stretching it so that when I go through this hole, this middle hole again, I'm missing the thread. It's just going straight through the hole without getting tangled up in the thread that's already gone through. And now I'm going to pull, I'll move this out the way. I'm going to pull from this end, this thread, up, and then pull this one, and that will give me more of the thread there. And I want it to be about the length to the bottom of the page. So I'll poke through a bit more, because that way I know I'll have enough to tie my thread. So once it goes back in, that's how much I'll have to tie my thread. So I might even go a bit more, pull it through, and now I know I've got enough to tie my thread, and I'll still have lots left over to hang over. You can cut them down shorter or longer, but this is just how I do it and measure it out. Then I grab my awl and do my 3rd hole up here, same kind of distance as the other hole from the bottom of the book or journal. Close it and then poke it through. Then I do hold the pages steady so that they won't move while I take my awl out. If they do, it's just easy to poke the awl through it again to line up the holes if they get out of alignment. Poking the needle through and this is where I don't think I did a big enough hole. So I'm going to just poke that out again. Get my awl. Poke it through further. And show you that you just poke it through that hole. And now it could come through. So this is another trick. I get this one out the way and pull it down, pull it tight, and then this one I pull tight and thread it under this one here that you've already done, and then pull it through and lift it up, and then pull this one down. And then you kind of wiggle it, wiggle it, wiggle it until it's centered, that knot part, in the middle of the hole. And then hold it tight, and I just check to see the tension, if it's too loose or too tight. You don't want it too tight because it'll cut through the pages, but too loose and the pages will move. So there we go, and then I grab my scissors and chop. Oh, sorry for shaking you. And then I just tie my ends, and this is about the length that I like to have them, but you can have them longer or shorter, it really doesn't matter. That's personal preference. And then I remove my paper clips, and there's my journal. So really simple, like 5 minutes, done. Really quick, really simple. It's not scary at all, and I really hope that this video brings that across. So let's just go to the next one. Like, I used to think it was such a tedious, hard, scary looking process, but after I did it that first time, I just saw it was actually really quick and really easy. So I grab my awl, stick it through, grab my needle, poke that one through, and the trick, pull it down and then thread that one through the top part of the hole. Now I'm going to pull this one through this way, pull it out that way a bit more so that I have enough to tie off my ends. Pulling this tight, pulling that tight, and I'll poke the hole through here. Hopefully I'll get it all the way through this time. And there we go. So again, pulling this one tight, and I'm going to go under, pull it through, push it to the top, pull that one to the bottom, cut my threads, and then just a double knot. Just going to make sure it's in the middle. There we go. Trim up my ends and remove my paper clips. So again, really simple, and I thought I'd just show this video just showing the binding part of the process, because I know I've shared the binding, how to bind, in other videos, but I haven't just shared it by itself. I've always done something else, arranged pages, or put more of the whole journal together rather than just showing the binding. So I thought I'd dedicate one video just to the binding. So again, same thing, looking for the middle, poking it through, grab my needle and thread and poke that through the hole. Grab the awl again, grabbing my needle, There we go. Then pulling this thread down, this one up and through that hole. Not sure if you can see. There we go. And then last hole. Okay, there we go. So pull this one out the way, thread that underneath, pull that one to the top, pull this one to the bottom, wriggle, wriggle, wriggle until it's centered. Trim them up. And then tie it off with a double knot. And I'll just trim them and remove the bobby pins. So there it is, so simple. I mean, less than 5 minutes it takes to bind a journal. So I hope that is helpful. I hope if you've never bound a journal before that you give it a go, because it's super easy, and once you start binding journals like this, you'll be making lots more journals, I reckon. I started out making journals using spiral bound notebooks because I didn't want to do the binding myself, but as soon as I discovered how to actually bind my own journals, I love doing this method the best, so it's my favourite method. Any questions, let me know. And I did share how to do this binding in the How Make a Junk Journal With Me series, but I thought I would just share this binding in one separate video, but I'll link that series below if you're interested, where I went through the whole making the cover, putting the pages together, how I choose them and cut them to size, and then how I arrange them and how I bind. So there is the little tutorial on the 3-hole pamphlet stitch for binding a journal. Hope it was helpful. Let me know if it was, or let me know if you were struggling and I can see if I can try to help. Always happy to help, because I just love making journals, and you know, I want to see as many people making journals as possible. So all good. Hope it was helpful, and I'll see you guys next video. Bye!